Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
There are great Mexican restaurants all over town, but there is one that is especially worth the drive from any part of town. Tacos Los Hermanos at 70th and Havelock. Cool off this summer with a delicious horchata or other special drinks. And grab one of their famous taco boxes for a group of friends or coworkers to enjoy, full of birria tacos and many other options. Don't forget their great desserts like tres leches, flan, and cheesecake. Get to Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock in Lincoln. Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Link to Literacy's third annual Wordstock event will be at Antelope Park on Saturday, August 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a community book swap festival with fun for the entire family and for all ages. Enjoy food trucks, kids' activities, a reading corner with celebrity narrators, including Brian Helfand, President and CEO, Director of Parks and Recreation, UNL athletes, and more. And of course, free books for all kids and adults. Go to linktoliteracy.org to get the full story and then make your plans to attend Wordstock.
Okay, kids, Dad's going to teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in 93.7 The Ticket. Ticket Weeknights, Harrison Arens. We got Jeffrey Callhoun joining me for this hour. And headset's not working there?
Yeah, this one wasn't working. This one, I just think it wasn't plugged in. That one, the cord was too short, but third time's the charm. We got it. We got it.
Third time's charm. We got it. We got Jeffrey in studio with us. And second last day.
Yeah.
For Jeffrey Callhoun.
Only one more shift after today, and then I'll be here tomorrow 4 to 8, and then drive myself back down to old Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, we'll have one more show with you tomorrow. But since we got you tonight, and tomorrow might be a busy day for you anyways, but I wanted to ask you, what's it been like working for the ticket?
It's been a lot of fun. I can't lie. I mean, when I interviewed with Rebecca, I mean, gosh, that was back in December for this job.
It's always so weird. It feels like you guys are here for like a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, but no, I mean, when I interviewed her back in December, I mean, she pretty much told me like, most of what we're going to have you be doing is create a video, which like, I haven't talked about this as much on air, but I'm also a film major. So like, yeah, I was like totally okay with that. Like kind of polish that area up and, absolutely got to do that. I mean, I was putting my completed work onto my personal hard drive today. And I think I did like 100 videos over the summer in the 12 weeks I was here. So
pretty good numbers per week.
Huh?
That's pretty good numbers per week.
Yeah, that's like 8 videos a week, something like that. I mean, at averaging 1 to 2 per day. So I mean, not mad at that. And then obviously, got to come on here a ton. I mean, Rebecca said there may be some on-air opportunities towards the end. And I was like, okay, I'm making to produce one show, hop on here and there. No, I mean, towards the end of this, I came on with you 2-3 times a week. Got that show started with Ellie at the end of June. I mean, this was so much more than I ever could have dreamed it could have been. I mean, this is something that I'm so blessed, and I thank God every day that I got to be able to do this, because being 21 years old, not even done with college yet, having my own show at one of the best radio stations, at least in the region, if not farther, it's really humbling, and it's really cool to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Even me, myself, I always kind of fall into that. Like, and for everybody listening, 402-464-5685. Like, what an absolute privilege. Yeah, I get a paycheck for this.
Yeah, right.
And it's always like incredible. It's like, what'd you do for work today? It's like on a bad day, I talked about my crappy Chicago Bears team losing a Sunday game, but I'm still getting paid to talk about sports. And obviously, there's back end work for everybody interested in doing a job like this. No, you don't just get to hop in and have your own show and start talking on air. You have to do a lot of behind the work, and hence that's why you didn't just get to hop on air right away. You had to prove your worth in other categories before you get to even hop on the mic. But once you get to this point, like, it is just like such a cool and awesome privilege to have. And it's always nice when you get people that appreciate that. We had Jackson, the same thing. He appreciated it. We had Nia Davis in the past, who, obviously Aaron Davis's daughter, who did a phenomenal job, and she wasn't on air as much, but in terms of just the graphics, and then she'd have her opportunities to hop on air at the time. And, it's great that we're downtown now and we have a legitimate studio where we can crank out some real talent.
Yeah.
And even if it's not here where they end up their career, they can have success at other places. And if a lot of those people, if they're listening, we wouldn't hate if you decided to come back and figure out how to fit you in. But no, it's just always incredible. And we're always appreciative of the listeners because, again, we don't get paid unless you guys are listening anyways.
Right.
So obviously it's working to some degree. And as always, we appreciate it greatly, as much as I do, and Jeffrey and everybody here who works at 93.7 The Ticket. What's been the coolest part for you? And I know it's gratitude. It's the right thing to say. What's been the coolest part for you?
I really think just being able to infuse some of my own personal life into some of the stuff that I've been able to put out. Obviously being able to do the stuff that I've been assigned to do has been great, but starting That's a W with Ellie was a ton of fun, because I think there was kind of a gap when it came to, stuff like the WNBA, stuff like college volleyball.
Yeah, there was a gap in coverage for sure. I'll give you that.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, it's impossible to cover every sport, but I mean, those are sports that I love covering. And now, I mean, even on Ticket Weeknights, on episodes I'm not on, I'm hearing those discussions happen more. I'm listening in and I hear that happen. So seeing that has been really cool. Being able to, look back at my portfolio and be like, I can see my own vision. I can see my own life in the stuff that I've put out. I think that's been that's been a lot of fun. And, it's also, I mean, it's like a couple weeks ago, I mean, I didn't have a phenomenal day at work. It was stressful. There was a ton going on, but I got home and I'm talking to my brother and I look at him, I said, today was the worst day of work I've had all summer. And that being said, I would do that day 100 times over before I went anywhere else to work that I've done in the past. I think that's the thing is it's just like, you're right. Like I look at some of the stuff. I mean, like, I'm sitting here, I'm talking and I'm sitting here and I'm going, I get paid for this, which is just such a surreal feeling.
Yeah. We, the first hour we were talking trades. And I did tree service for summer. I did construction for summer and I did CIP. If everybody knows CIP, you can find a CIP apartment in about every damn corner that is Lincoln, as well as every other block that is in Lincoln.
I lived in a CIP apartment for a while when I was younger.
And I'm sure if anybody who's moved to Lincoln has most likely lived in a CIP apartment because there's just so many. And, did that work. And that was probably the easiest work I had in terms of like the trade stuff. And it was still 10 times harder than in terms of physical labor. Now, this part has a lot more mental, but, you do some of that other stuff and you get a real appreciation for the community when you're seeing the people that are doing like the real hard labor jobs, waking up on a daily basis. And, got a lot of pride in that as well. But it's cool that this station, like I get to your point, hop on here and I get to talk about those experiences, put a light on the people that are, again, I always say anybody who's doing tree service, especially over what we had. Can you imagine the amount of tree service guys that were just working day and night with all the branches and torn down trees and getting those like, your elderly 90-year-old's not going to have a chainsaw to cut a massive tree that fell into a garage. So, it's cool when you have all those experiences and you can even highlight not only the athletes, but the community members as well. And I know that's a big part of DP and Rebecca's whole mission here is, we love sports. That's the thing that unites the ticket is we love sports. But the second thing is we love this community. And it's cool to share. And again, you're a guy from Missouri. We'll talk about Missouri football later. But you're a guy from Missouri, and like we get to get your intake from Missouri, coming to Nebraska. Jackson from Florida. What's it like coming to Nebraska? Tristan, who's still with us. He's not going to be leaving anytime soon. At least I hope not. Seems to like it here. He's played Division I baseball, and he had an opportunity to be the next Josh Allen. He talks about what's that like. I thought about being a quarterback playing for Wyoming and maybe try the crazy Josh Allen experience. So, it's nice when you get all these different faces come in here because we love the Midwest characters. We love the Nebraska characters, but again, you get all sorts of nice characters. We just had Peter Colbelt on here. Obviously, Ohio, he's the head coach for the men's tennis program. Now he's done phenomenal. Had one of the best seasons ever with them, taking over as an interim head coach. And we get to hear him on the ticket. And then again, in case you guys don't know, tennis matches are free, and there's alcohol there now, and it's free to get there. It's a beautiful facility.
Go to tennis matches.
There's alcohol and all these things now. So, and I will recommend it. Like if you guys have not checked out a tennis match, go check it out. It's free. You got nothing to do on that day. Like it's very cool. And again, without this station, I don't know if everyone's hearing that. Like, oh, wait a minute, I can go do a tennis match for free and check it out. And, I can enjoy myself. They have raffles. They do all this extra stuff on certain days. And, we get to echo it out to the public.
Yeah. And I mean, it is really cool to see how tapped in this station is to the community. And that was something I didn't realize until I got here. I mean, my second day of work, I went out and did a show at A1 Automotive at their new location. And, Kendall Warnock, phenomenal dude. And the work he does for the community is so cool. But, it's like, does he really have any adjacents to sports? No. But, it's important. Same with, teammates coming in every week, outside of being founded by Tom Osborne, like they, it's not a sports organization, but obviously they do a ton for the community. And being able to have that information that people would have not otherwise heard of is really cool. And I like the fact that this is a sports radio station that realizes, we love sports, but it's not the most important thing. And there are things that are bigger than that and bigger than us, and being able to highlight that.
Oh, that's probably one of my favorite things about why I love Lincoln so much. And, I believe it or not, I used to be one of those California kids growing up.
Really?
Yeah, like a hard twist right there. I think most people seeing me would think that's the opposite thing of what I would want. But, I was like, oh, yeah, California looks great. And then, like, the more you grow up in Nebraska, you're like, these people are really nice.
Yeah.
Like, all these people here, and I'm sure Missouri's pretty similar in terms of really nice community.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things about Lincoln. It's like, I always use the story. I was driving my Jeep home 3 hours up north. I was probably like an hour outside of Lincoln, still pretty close to the local area, and the scratch plate of my Jeep falls off somehow. And I don't know, it's not that big of a deal, but I can hear it. I'm like, what the hell's dragging underneath my car right now? And luckily, I had the tools to go in there. Somehow the bolt just slowly came unsecure, and now I was able to tighten it. But I was maybe parked on the side of the road for about 10 minutes putting that thing on. I had 1, 2, 3, 4 cars stop in 10 minutes.
That's cool.
See if I needed assistance. And I'm like, if I'm in New York, I don't know if that happens. If I'm in Florida, I don't think that happens. If I'm in, any of these, and it doesn't make those major cities bad.
Mm-mm.
It just means people are busy, and people, I don't want to say this because it's not necessarily true, but it's like when you live in places where the population is so dense, people start looking at other people like a nuisance, not as neighbors, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes total sense. I mean, it's oversaturated with people to some extent, like to the point where like, you see, I figure out how to word this.
Yeah, it's tricky because I'm not trying to put down like it's I would be the same way. It's not like they're a lesser person, but you can compare it to sports. Why isn't one of the cathedrals of college football, USC, just packed?
Yeah.
When they got Heisman winners. There's a million things to do. Not everybody's kind of on that same wavelength because it's impossible.
Yeah. There's so much going on, and it sadly happens sometimes the same with people. And, but that's, tying it back to sports. That's why Nebraska, no matter how bad they may be, everyone rallies around it, because it feels more personal. And, I see that. I see that in a place like Lincoln. Just the kindness and the community connection is really, really cool.
Absolutely. So those are flowers to the community because you guys do always deserve them. I absolutely love living in this city, and it's not just because of this job. It's because the people and the community around it on top of everything else. But this is a sports radio station. We're not going to go teary-eyed and sappy the whole time. Let's talk about Kansas getting some serious money by a man named David Booth. $300 million pledged to donate and support athletics and campus development. Donation includes $75 million specifically ended at funding the next phase of the Gateway District and renovations to David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium. I mean, it's a long-term support, so it's not like next year we're just going to see $300 million get injected into the program, or in the next 2 years it's long-term support. But I mean, what are your thoughts? You see $300 million going to the University of Kansas and 75% continuing to remodel what is that Kansas football program.
I believe that Kansas should never get any money ever. This is not me biased as a Missouri fan. No, it totally is. No, I mean,
but you wish you had a David Booth.
Yeah. I will say, like, I talked about this the other day. Kansas's football stadium needs renovate. Like,
it does.
Needs renovation. I went there for a game. It was 2022. I went there for Kansas versus TCU. And like, that was a big game. I mean, Kansas was 4-0, or I'm sorry, Kansas was 5-0, TCU was 4-0. Obviously, that was the year that TCU made it to the Natty. And like, so I went there for that game, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with the stadium. It's just very, very outdated. I mean, I went there with a friend of mine who's from Dallas, and she looks at me and she goes, "Yeah, we have high school stadiums bigger than this." And it really is. It's just a wraparound horseshoe with steel bleachers all the way around. There's a tiny little, like, I mean, it looks like a patio, honestly, for their, club seating. And again, it's not like it's like run down or falling apart. Like, it's not like FedEx Field or anything, but like, it needs some love and it needs some life. And especially with Lance Leipold, like, really kind of injecting some life into this team. Cause I mean, especially, it was 2023, was it? Yeah, they went 9-4.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best that KU football has been in a long time.
I wanted us to hire Leipold after we fired Frost. I was like, between Luke Fickell, Matt Rule, Leipold. I don't know if Leipold if he reached out to him or if he was ever interested, but Leipold was one of those first guys that popped up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a solid coach. He's a very solid coach. And, even last year, I mean, that's the thing is, even last year, KU had a bad year. But if you asked a KU fan 8 years ago what they would do for 5-7 with 2 ranked wins, the things that they would say would be outlandish. Like, and so I know they have done a phase of renovations so far. I think that, it needs to keep going because
mainly cosmetics so far. Really just kind of cleaning up how it looks from the outside. Nothing too major infrastructure wise yet.
Yeah. And I think like that's the thing is that I can't remember which end zone it was, but one of the end zones is like it's completely empty. It's just that little club patio, and it's not like it's like a stadium like in the middle of it's not like Memorial Stadium or like it's in the middle of downtown. Like it's pretty close to a neighborhood. Like there's a ton of grass and land around it. So they have room for expansion. Like
kind of similar to like what Green Bay is. And well, I shouldn't say that because there's not nearly as much green space around there.
I haven't been there, but from what I've seen, yeah.
It's in the residential. Like people will, for Packers games, the neighborhoods will like, hey, you got $20, you can park on my lawn.
Yeah. KU fans, I think, will do the same thing.
Okay, so it is pretty similar experience then.
Yeah. I mean, I think the shuttle that took us over, like the bus stop, like I looked over and it was, a row of houses. So it is in a more residential area. And I mean, they have that, that famous hill. So like they have a pretty big canvas to work with. So I think this money is going to go a long way. And correct me if I'm wrong. I also think I like a good chunk of this is going to just the rest of the athletics program in general. Like I think,
so 75 is going to that specific for the what's that? I always forget what's it called. Memorial Stadium. Man, there's so many of those.
So many.
Got 3 in the Big Ten alone. All right, Memorial Stadium, and so 75 million is going to the next phase of that gateway district around their Memorial Stadium. And then they basically say it's pledged, but support athletics and campus development over a long-term support. So I don't think we're going to anything like concrete, like this is where it's going. 75 will be going for that next phase of Memorial Stadium and everything around that district. But then, the rest of it's just going to be making sure the athletic program can do what it needs to do, whether that's, invest in new facilities, training table for all the athletes, just campus life in itself. Like it's not like some people may read into it. It's like, oh my gosh, they're getting 300 million for football. It's like, well, no, they're getting 75 to upgrade the facilities, and then they'll kind of disperse over the long term how they want to spread that money out.
Which I kind of like that it's loose, because frankly, like one thing that really frustrates me a lot in athletics is like, oh, we're going to give you this massive chunk of money, but you can only give it to football. It's like, okay, most like 95 out of 100 universities you go to, like football is going to be the one with the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I understand giving donations to keep that afloat, but at the same time, it's like, I am going to rag on my own university a little bit. They got a massive donation to renovate Faroe Field, which is like a solid field. Like, it's not Memorial Stadium. It's not the big house, but like, it's not like at the level of like what Kansas was at. Like, it's a good field, but at the same time, you have Taylor Stadium, their baseball stadium, which is horrid. You have the Hearn Center for wrestling, gymnastics, and volleyball, which really needs some work. And it's like, okay, why can't we like fix that up? And so I like that they're doing this.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate real quick here. It's more on David Booth, right? The problem is like most boosters, they're not going to cut you the check if you say that, and that's just unfortunate. Like that's where it comes down to. It's like, this is only going to football. I will not cut the check if you choose to vary it in other places. So, sometimes it's, again, the AD is always the guy with the gun to the head, right? Where it's like, he's got to do everything right. And he's going to get the criticism, but sometimes it's like, that's the only way they're going to get anything for that. And it's like, do you take it and just listen to the booster, or do you just like turn him down? It's like, you're going to take it no matter what.
Oh yeah. No.
And that's always the tough part that ADs, I think, always have to really try to balance. It's like, okay, here's all the booster money. We know what these guys want with it. Like, there's a reason why they're cutting these checks, because they have specific things in mind. And then as the AD, can you convince them to maybe look at other areas? It's like, I think that's the tough part of athletic directors today. And then when you get, 300 million, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about before, some programs, 5 million will change the entire program for what they normally have. It's not going to make it probably the best. We'll just use tennis because he was in here at the beginning. It might not make it the best facility in all the country, but it's a hell of an upgrade than what they were used to.
Yeah. And I guess like you're right. Like no one's going to reject money. So I guess more of my qualms are coming at the donors that are like, oh, I have this giant sum of money. Let's give it to the program that already has all the money. If you're an AD, absolutely do not turn it down. That's dumb. But like, it's like, okay, like you have this money, like 10% of that would change a volleyball program, a baseball program, a tennis program in most universities in the country. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. I mean, that's and apologies if our stream's lagging a little bit here. I think we're back. If everyone's watching Facebook, YouTube, XL channel 961, But it's interesting. For college football and college sports in general,
Yep.
it is. I'll ask you this, and then we'll go to break. College football in particular, because we're going to talk, wedding crashers here or college football playoff crashers here in the next 2 segments. Is this the best college football has ever been, despite all the craziness, or maybe the worst? Like, the money's there, but in terms of tradition, or just the same? Because it's like, I was probably from with it. I'm a romantic. I like the old rivalry games. I like some of the old conferences. The 12 college football playoffs to me is fine. If they expand it, I get a little uneasy. The players transferring in and out's fine. NAL can get a little bit weird at times, but at the end of the day, if I turn on a game at Saturday, it's awesome. It's such a good product still.
Right.
And maybe the outside noise a little bit is, making me shaky, but what would I expect? Because it is so new. And at least there was the House versus NCAA settlement. Like, is college football only going in a better place? Is it stagnant, or has it lost a couple paces?
I mean, I think it really depends. Like, I think that there are some things that are better than they've ever been.
Yeah, because the money will tell you it's better.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, I love the 12-team playoff. I think 12 to 16 teams is perfect. And frankly, I think the fact that we got a national championship between, what was it? I think the 5 and the 8 seed, or the 7 and the 8 seed. Like, I think that kind of shows it. Like, these teams are going to be competitive. And it's still significantly smaller than basketball, volleyball, baseball's tournaments. So, like, I think it's in a good spot. Broadcasting, I think it's the best it's ever been. I mean, you go back to late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, you had top 25 teams that weren't getting put anywhere on TV. Now, I can watch Maction on Tuesday night because I can. So I think, that aspect is the best it's ever been. Flip side of the coin, I don't like the new conference realignments. I don't think for viewers, for student athletes, having Maryland in the same conference as USC, I don't think that's good for anybody.
Because football is going to have the money to fly the jet out there. How's the women's lacrosse team doing?
Exactly. Like that. That's the thing. Like, and you got to remember, like, how do I word this? For football players and for for the players, they're going to be making a lot of money. School may not be the most important thing. That's not a blanket statement, but I'm saying,
right,
if you're going to go to the NFL, if you're making millions of dollars in college, like, doesn't matter. But what about, the second string libero at the University of Iowa who is trying to get her medical degree, flying to Southern California and back in a week?
See, that's a really good point. The school part.
Exactly. Like, that's not healthy for anybody. Like, and you got to think about, I mean, flying to 2 different time zones, maybe even 3 different time zones and back in the span of a few days, trying to do your classes. Like, and, I think about players like, I think perfect example, Allie Batenhorst. She didn't leave Nebraska because she didn't like Nebraska. She didn't leave Nebraska because she got a better playing opportunity. No, she left Nebraska and went to USC because USC had the grad program that she wanted. She just happened to have an extra year of eligibility and was like, yeah, I'll play volleyball here because they also have a good program. It really didn't have much to do with volleyball. And I think especially with conferences, people tend to forget it's more than football. And these are kids our age that are trying to get their degrees. And I think that is a serious problem. And NIL, I don't know. That's a whole thing.
It's good. It just needs to be tweaked.
Yeah, it needs to be tweaked.
Because I don't think anybody's ever said, like, well, these universities deserve to pocket all the money. Yeah. These athletes clearly aren't the one bringing in money. Yeah. It's like, okay, however you want to disperse that money, whether it's that's a whole nother argument, but I don't think anybody legitimately had problems. You did have some people say, well, that's the scholarship. And it's like, okay, there's a scholarship and there's the, I can't remember how much Nebraska football made. Here's the, $50+ million that the university made. Here's your scholarship money. We're keeping. So, like, that part was always kind of like, I don't think too many people have clumps about that. It's just the kinks still. It's like, we don't want to be a pay to play league. We want to be pay for value. Because, even what it should be, it doesn't, what name, image, and likeness is, it does not mean the best player gets the most money. It just doesn't. And that's kind of where the backwards thinking. Now, the best player might get the most money. Like, for instance, for Nebraska, we'll just say it's Dylan, although you could have debate there. It depends what he looks like, but he plays quarterback. So obviously his name, image, and likeness is going to be there. But, say you're a Rocco Spindler. You might be the best offensive lineman, but your name, image, and likeness is not, you're just not going to be getting as much money, but he probably is going to get a ton. And I have no idea, but but he's going to get a ton of money because he is Rocco Spindler for the pay to play, not the name, image, and likeness. So there's still that kind of tricky part.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's 100% clear yet. I think we are still in that pay to play era, despite the House versus NCAA settlement coming through. College Sports Commission helps. We'll see how effective it really is in these next couple of years and how they continue to refine it. But that's enough about money. I'm sick and tired of talking about laws, money, and settlements. We're going to talk just some good old college football playoffs on the next two segments. Don't go anywhere. Harrison Arens, Jeff Callhoun.
Nebraska football opens their season on Thursday, August 28th in Kansas City, and you can be a part of the best pregame tailgate party with Blur Events, live from Kauffman Stadium, home of the Royals. Doors open 4 hours before kickoff with a live DJ promoting interactive competitions and giveaways. Tailgate games like cornhole, flip cup, and beer pong, access to ballpark concessions, and available air conditioning. Book your tickets today at blurevents.com/Kansas City and hang with 93.7 The Ticket on the scene prior to Nebraska versus Cincinnati on August 28th.
Western Sand and Gravel is hiring for a variety of positions at their sand and gravel plants near Ashland. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Available positions include plant operators, dredge operators, and shop service technicians. They offer great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, paid holidays, and paid time off. No matter your experience level, on-the-job training is available to help you build a rewarding career with Western Sand and Gravel. Start your career today. Visit westernsand.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association on this station.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com. Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. Salt Mine City is your go-to brewery in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their Big Fatty 7-ounce hamburger or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arens, Jeffrey Callhoun. Had an interesting conversation off air, but definitely not going to bring that one on air here. We're going to talk some college football here, college football playoffs. You guys are always welcome to join in. Talking dark horses, wedding crashers, college football playoff crashers. And when I talk about this, this does not mean we are talking about the bottom of the barrel SEC team. They're going to come all the way top. This could be Tennessee, who Tennessee last year was, I think, preseason 14. Maybe I think I want to say 14 preseason poll.
All right. And
then they finished the year. They were slated to finish 7th in the SEC, and then they obviously make it to the college football playoff. So that's crasher. They weren't invited, to say the very least. And in terms of preseason, other people's invitations were put in there. Let's go conference by conference. Power 4, because there's some conferences out there that you can really pick anyone just because of how easy the conference is. It's like whoever comes out on top is going to get that bid. But with that being said, though, let's start with the Big Ten. Give me the dark horses, and you give me a few, and then land on one that if you had to bet, and I'll take Nebraska off the plate. You can't commit to Nebraska.
I think you and I might have the same one. I'm going to go Illinois. Illinois may be a bit of a safer pick. They're ranked 12 right now, but that would be outside looking in that would be the first spot out. But I feel like you and I have kind of been the conductors of the Illinois hype train this year. I had a conversation with someone yesterday. One of my pastors, actually, who's a football coach, he was talking. He's like, "Oh, Illinois is ranked too high." I'm like, "No, they're not." No, they're not.
I've been hyping up Illinois forever.
Good. I really, really like Illinois. I think they have one of the better returning quarterbacks in the country. Man, that defense and that linebacker core for the last few years has just been nasty.
I think they're bringing running back 1 and 2 back.
I think you might be right. But yeah, this they were a 10-win team last year.
Mm-hmm.
And people can say what they want. Oh, the schedule is easy, blah, blah, blah. If you had told anybody 8 years ago that Illinois was going to be a 10-win team and a preseason top 12 team in the country, come on. Yeah, Illinois is definitely the big one for me.
They're interesting. Okay, so just looking at last year, right? They beat Kansas, they beat Central Michigan, and they beat Nebraska. That was the bitter dagger in overtime. And then they do have their letdown versus Penn State, but it's 7-21. And they're playing on the road. They're playing in Penn State. I know you lost the game by 2 scores, but take Illinois a few years back. Everyone's calling for a major blowout. They lost the game, but their defense looked better than you would anticipate. Then the next week they do play Purdue. 50-49, they win in overtime.
That was a bad game.
Bad game?
That was a bad game.
We also did the same thing to Purdue, though, where we just barely scraped by at the fourth quarter. I say it all the time. It takes a John Bullock pick 6, and then the game finally swings in our favor. But then they beat Michigan 21-7. And again, that's the same Michigan team that I know they're a little bit down, but that team was good enough to beat Ohio State, and then to finish the year beating Alabama. They lose to Oregon on the road pretty ugly, 9-38. Then they lose to Minnesota, 25-17, and then they pick up and they finish the year strong. They beat Michigan State 38-16, Rutgers 38-31, Northwestern 38-28, and then they do beat South Carolina in that bowl game. And again, that was a good South Carolina team with North Sellers. So they have to, the hump for them is how big of a step is it for you to those elite teams? Because you actually are a little bit closer than Penn State than you might imagined. and you dropped to Minnesota, but you did beat Michigan. And this upcoming year, it's Ohio State and Ohio State. Yeah. And then whatever you make of Indiana. Like that's the games. And then you could call a, tough game versus USC, sure. But I mean, it's really, I'll just read it out loud again for everybody. Western Illinois, Duke, Western Michigan Broncos. So those are your 1, 2, 3 non-con games. And then you get Indiana on the road. Whatever you think of Indiana, that could be a tough game. We'll just say it's going to
be a fun game.
We'll say it's a tough one. They're so tough they take a loss. Okay. USC, but it's at home. So I kind of like Illinois playing USC at home. Give them that. They play Purdue, and then Ohio State, Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, a bad Wisconsin, Northwestern. I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3 games that are going to pose real threats in Indiana, USC, and Ohio State. And you get USC at home and you get Ohio State at home. So 2 of your toughest games are at home. And the one that's debatably tough, depending if you're buying into Kurt Cignetti hype or not, is Indiana on the road in, another Memorial Stadium. So it's set up for them in the same way it's set up for Nebraska. It's like you're going to have to, if you take care of business and if you play with what the betting odds say you will play, you will end up walking into the season. You'll probably be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0 before you get to Ohio State. If you just follow the betting line saying that you're the favorite to win it. And I like Brett Bielema a lot. He's just one of those phenomenal coaches who I think he's can develop bad programs.
Yeah. And my thing is, first of all, you brought up that Penn State game. That game was way, way closer than the score indicated.
That's right. It did run off at the end there.
Yeah. That game was, it was 14-7 with like 5 minutes left. It was 14-7 with 2 minutes left.
Oh, that's right.
And Penn State kind of just ran out the clock, and Illinois, Illinois just kind of,
they struggle when they're behind.
Like they sputtered at the end. But the other thing too is like, okay, all three of their losses from last year for Illinois, that is, they dodge this year. They don't play Oregon, they don't play Penn State, and they don't play Minnesota. And you look at that Indiana game, I think there is a true argument to be made that Illinois could have beaten Indiana last year, because you also look at all 3 of those losses Illinois took last year, Indiana didn't play any of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
And really that Illinois-Indiana game is like massively circled on my screen, because honestly, looking at the schedules of both of these teams, I mean, it is, Indiana's schedule is a bit harder, but especially for Illinois, honestly, I feel like that is a must win if you want to make it to the college football playoff. Because if this team goes 10-2 and their losses are Ohio State and Indiana, I don't think that strength of schedule is there, honestly.
I think you're right.
Outside of that, your hardest opponent is USC or at Washington, which could be a sneaky tough matchup just because of how good that home field advantage has been.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, by that same breath, this team goes 11-1. You're pretty much in the Big Ten championship. I mean, you go 11-2, you lose in the Big Ten title game. Your only losses to Ohio State and Penn State and Oregon and Ohio State again. It's going to be hard to keep you out. And honestly, I like Illinois in this Indiana matchup. Like, I think this is a team that very easily could make the college football playoff.
I like it. They got the Indiana schedule for last year, where it's like it's up to them. It's manageable, but we say this with Nebraska games all the time. Manageable scoreboard doesn't always reflect what was supposed to be manageable, but they've had some big strides. I would, if I had to pick my dark horse, I'll put Nebraska on the table. Number 1, Illinois 2. I'm not picking Washington. I was listening to Joe Klatt's show. I think it's interesting, their home game win streak, but they got some tough home games. I think that streak kind of comes to an end this year. Could be wrong about it. I won't spend too much time on Washington because I know me and Peter Colbelt talked about it. Anybody else in the Big Ten intrigue you? I know some people have been saying USC as well. Let me double check their schedule.
I don't like USC. I mean, they win 1 or 2 cool games every year.
I don't like it at all. They get Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame, us. What do you think of us? Iowa, Oregon.
Yeah, that's pretty much every one of those except maybe Iowa is a loss in my head. Those are the main ones that stick out of my head. Washington is interesting for me, but Washington for me, honestly, they kind of feel like, and stay with me on this one, they kind of feel like a Jeff Brom Purdue team, a team that isn't going to make the playoffs, isn't even going to make like a New Year's Six bowl, but could radically pull off a couple random upsets. I mean, you think of, Purdue in 2021.
It's kind of been Washington's MO as of late.
Yeah, I mean, they beat top 10 Michigan last year.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was one other team they gave a pretty heavy run for their money last year, if I'm remembering. Was it? Yeah, they beat Michigan. They didn't play bad against Indiana. Like, I could see that happening, especially with Jed Fish at head coach. Like, I could see them causing some problems, but I don't see them as a dark horse. It really is Illinois #1, Nebraska 2. Those are the big ones for me.
Fair enough. And we're already at the break already. So don't go anywhere. Let's go to the SEC side on the other side. We'll talk about dark horses in the SEC who might make their way into the college football playoffs. Again, it's interesting. With the 12-man college football, I think 12 is perfect. Not super. I understand why some people want 16, but nonetheless, even with 12, we saw 4 teams that have never made college football playoffs in their entire history break in. So you do get to see some new faces in there. And to your point, it wasn't just the best seeds winning. You got to see some variation there. And again, Arizona State pushed Texas. A lot of it was because of their running back, not so much Sam Leavitt. He struggled in that game, but that was interesting. Nobody was really expecting that. I think Texas was expected to kind of floor those guys, and it was a thriller pretty much almost down to the end there. So with that being said, don't go anywhere. We'll talk about the SEC playoff crashers on the other side. Jeffrey Callhoun, Harrison Arens.
Looking for a fun way to give back? Join us for the 2025 Kicks for Kids Nebraska Fun Run Walk, presented by Pinnacle Bank, on Saturday, August 23rd at James Arthur Vineyard. Enjoy a scenic 5K through beautiful grounds. Every step helps provide shoes to kids in Lincoln and Lancaster County schools, with options for adults, wine included, and kids. Registration fees include a t-shirt, medal, and bag. Sign up today and make a difference at kicksforkidsnebraska.org.
Play ball! Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as 1 pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
I could tell something wasn't right. My buddy Jake just wasn't himself. He seemed down. I was concerned about him and asked if he was thinking about suicide.
We all have a role in preventing suicide. Know the warning signs. They may not seem like themselves, be depressed, withdrawn, stressed, agitated, or talking about suicide. Call, text, or chat 988 for 24/7 support. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your County Veteran Service Officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
We've been hunting these fields north of Kearney since high school. My buddy Ryan has always been my wingman, the life of the party. But I saw a change, and he got really down. talked about his life being worthless.
If you know someone who's struggling, talk to them about temporarily storing their guns away from their home, taking care of friends and neighbors. It's what we do in Nebraska. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you're outdoors beneath Nebraska skies, adventure comes in all sizes. From quick escapes and long weekends to true off-the-grid retreats. Paddle, hike, camp, explore. Whether you have a few hours or a few days, we'll guide you to a state park or recreation area that's a perfect fit. Start your next adventure today at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment. Jeffrey Callhoun, Harrison Arens. We got one more, about 5 minutes left here, talking college football playoff crashers, and we did the Big Ten. Let's go over to the other side, the other major power conference that is within the Power 4, SEC. This one's interesting. I have a tough time at picking out who could be the high risers here. Mm-hmm. Not high on Alabama. We'll just go. I'll give it to you. Missouri, go off.
It's got to be Missouri for me. I mean, and honestly, we talked about this off air, and you and Tristan were the ones who brought it up. And the big part of
it was me. Tristan scoffed.
Oh,
to be fair.
Tristan is wrong. That schedule is so easy.
It really
is. I mean, it is so easy. I mean, their road schedule is Oklahoma, because you got to pull it up. It's Oklahoma. It's Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So they got Auburn is their first road game. Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Arkansas.
Yeah,
and they beat Arkansas last year, correct?
Yeah, they beat and that's the thing too, is Mizzou. So Mizzou is the only team with back-to-back double-digit win seasons,
10-3, that
was not in the preseason top 25. They're 22-5 in their last 2 years. They haven't lost at home in the last 2 years, except for Jaden Daniels.
I didn't even put that together. That's insane that they weren't in the top 25 after 2 years in a row of being top.
They do lose some pieces. I mean, they lose their starting quarterback. They lose both of their best receivers. They lose both their top running backs. Like, there are definitely some pieces to replace. I mean, but they return 8 starters on defense. They bring in a really good transfer quarterback and running back, and they have a really deep wide receiver room. And you look at how easy that schedule is. I mean, it is genuinely feasible that this team goes undefeated with that schedule.
Well, what's their home win streak?
I don't know the exact streak, but the last time they lost was 2023 to Jaden Daniels and LSU.
That's
and I think it was the first conference game of the year. So I think, they didn't lose a game last year. So I mean, it's
just, you get like that many home games. It's phenomenal. And we'll just go through it real quick. Central Arizona, they do get Kansas, but at home, Louisiana, and then out of the non-con. And this is the best part about the schedule. South Carolina, tough team, you get them at home. UMass, you get them at home. Alabama, we'll see what that could be a tough game. You get them at home though. Then you finally hit the road and you play Auburn on the road. That's Hugh Freeze's Auburn right now. It's last year they were so young. I think they'll still be young. They could be dangerous, but to me, Auburn, they got to take such a huge jump. I think
I don't like Auburn.
Yeah, just to get there. So I think that should be a winnable game. And then Vanderbilt, I'm not buying in on Vandy. I think Diego Pavia is better than what they're used to, but we got to look at Vandy's schedule after. I'm going to leave Vandy alone real quick and look at Vandy's schedule. Texas A&M, but you get them at home. Mississippi State, you get them at home. Yeah. And then you're on the road and you face Oklahoma, who last year Oklahoma didn't really scare anyone. And then Arkansas, who you guys beat last year. Yeah, and you played them on the road.
The last time Mizzou lost to Arkansas, I want to say it was like 2021. Like, it's been a long time since they lost to Arkansas. So, yeah, give me Missouri as the playoff dark horse there. Because that's the thing is, even with one loss, you say, oh, this is a cake schedule. Okay, you get into the SEC championship and you got a real shot to prove yourself. So, and that's the thing is, the best team on their schedule is either South Carolina or Alabama.
Yeah.
You're in the SEC and that's your hardest opponent. Yeah, that's an easy schedule.
And that's kind of where I'm betting my money on. Is I agree with you. I think they are going to be able to, if everything goes. And again, this is like all speculation. There's always that game that comes down to the wire, and if they can pull it out, that they still got a shot, or they just fall flat on their face, which happens every single year. But we're pointing out the road. And if you're going to pick a dark horse, that's the road I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at Vanderbilt real quick, just because it's just interesting.
You want to cause problems?
I do. So we'll skip. Their third game of the season is on the road at South Carolina. Then they get Georgia State, Utah State, on the road versus Alabama. LSU comes to them at home versus Missouri, on the road versus Texas. And then they get at home Auburn, at home Kentucky, and then they finish the year on the road Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, South Carolina. I mean, that's 4 losses right there.
Yeah.
And then you can make an argument for a lot of these other teams like Missouri, Auburn might actually, at that point in the season. Again, Vanderbilt do it 2 years in a row before I really start tuning in and do it with a little bit more consistency.
But
so Alabama wins to me are just so much less value than what they used to be. Because again, even if it's not all DeBoer, Milroe was awfully inconsistent at times. So if Alabama gets a new quarterback and it looks a lot better, then maybe. But I don't know. Alabama last year wasn't super impressive to me as it wasn't just past if you beat Alabama.
And my thing too is, last year felt like a historically good season for Vanderbilt, and they went 7-6, won the Birmingham Bowl, and had a loss to Georgia State in there.
And it was historic, ironically.
And that's the thing is, it was a great season for Vanderbilt standards. Sure, great job, genuinely. But you're Vanderbilt. This team is going, and the thing is too, they're gonna have to win a lot of games to put themselves in the playoff discussion. And I just I don't. You got Alabama, LSU, Mizzou, Texas back to back to back to back. The worst team on that schedule in that stretch is LSU. It ain't happening.
It's a brutal road. I think for the SEC, it's really got, like I said, you could maybe like Auburn, but I just think they have such a big road ahead of them. LSU, I'm not super high on. Yeah. South Carolina is about the only other team who I think could shock some people, and a lot of it's going to depend on Sellers and then what kind of relationship him and Beaver cook up over the summer here.
I think the problem with South Carolina is they have 1 or 2 games a year where it's wow, I cannot believe they won that game. They looked incredible. And then but for every one of those games, they have 1 or 2 games where it's oh, they looked really bad. And South Carolina fans, I think, try to be okay, well, look at we did a top 10 Texas A&M last year. Look at what we did to top 10 Clemson last year. Okay, but you say what you want about the Bama game. That coaching was bad in that game. Say what you know, the LSU game, I'll admit they kind of got screwed, but they're just some games where it's okay, you got to win these games if you want to make it in. They just can't do that.
And they got a tough road, to be fair. They're tough games. Missouri, LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss will be interesting. They finished the year versus Clemson. It's not a lot of these teams for the dark horses. What I've been really just looking at is, does the schedule play out for you the same way it played out for Indiana to sneak up on everybody? Because again, Indiana was a good team, but also that schedule, I think, helped them build that confidence. When you're a program that's used to just getting pummeled into the ground all the time, that confidence seems to go a long ways, like it did for Indiana, Kurt Cignetti. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for us. That's not it for Jeffrey, though. We'll have him back again tomorrow on his last day. 93.7 The Ticket. One more day indeed, but don't go anywhere. We got the best of the ticket coming your guys' way next. Don't go anywhere. More on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.